time for the Longines Chronoscope, a television journal of the important issues of the hour, brought to you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. A presentation of the Longines Whitnor Watch Company, maker of Longines, the world's most honored watch, and Whitnor, distinguished companion to the world-honored Longines. Good evening. This is Frank Knight. May I introduce our co-editors for this edition of the Longines Chronoscope? Mr. William Bradford Huey, editor of the American Mercury, and Mr. James H.R. Cromwell, former United States Minister to Canada. Our distinguished guest for this evening is the Honorable Joseph R. Farrington, delegate to Congress from the territory of Hawaii. The opinions expressed are necessarily those of the speakers.
Mr. Farrington, about 2 million Americans, I believe, traveled through Hawaii during the Second War, and most of our viewers tonight hope to go to Hawaii at some time during their lifetime, so it's a great pleasure to have you with us tonight, sir. Now, what word can you give all of our viewers who have been to Hawaii and those who do want to go? How is business generally in the islands now?
Business in Hawaii is very good.
Are you prospering on a defense economy there now?
The expenditures for national defense since the outbreak of the Korean War have been increased substantially, and we have prospered as a result of that. And I'd like to say also, particularly for the benefit of those who have been to Hawaii, that there's been a heavy increase in tourist travel, and that conditions there are much more attractive for the tourists now than they were, of course, during the war.
Now, is the military still your bread and butter in Hawaii? It's still your number one source of income, I assume.
Well, it's a source of largest income at the present time, although we don't regard it as the base of our economy by any means.
And where does sugar and pineapple and tourist, how do they rank behind the military?
The basic industry of Hawaii is the raising of sugar cane. We produce about 1 million tons of raw sugar a year. Approximately 25% of the sugar produced under the American flag. The next product is pineapples, and we produce about 85 to 90% of all the pineapples consumed by the people of this country. The third is the tourist industry.
And have you any new hotels out there built since the war?
Yes, we have. We have several very fine new hotels. One in particular, the Surf Rider, is just in front of the famous Waikiki Beach Surf.
Have you a housing shortage out there at the present time?
Well, we've had a housing shortage, as a matter of fact, since the beginning of the emergency before World War II, and it still exists.
I believe
your
labor troubles out there have made a great many headlines in the United States. Are you still vexed with labor troubles? Is that one of your difficulties now?
Yes, that's very true, but I don't think much more so than the rest of the country. I'd like to point out that in Hawaii, organized labor as such wasn't established as an effective economic force until after World War II. And today, in respect particularly to our basic industries, we're much in the same phase as coal was way back in 1912, as steel was in about 1919, as automobiles were in about 1930. The most militant of unions established the labor movement in Hawaii as an effective force, and they still maintain that leadership.
Do you think they're more left-wing in Hawaii than would be the case in the United States, comparatively speaking?
That's true of the largest and principal union in Hawaii. It's the International Longshoremen's and Warehousemen's Union, and it is regarded as being among the principal left-wing unions of the country.
That's the one that's under the leadership of Mr. Bridges?
That's correct.
Well, is it true to say that your whole economy is more or less at the mercy of Mr. Harry Bridges?
I don't contend that our economy is at the mercy of Harry Bridges. Our economy is is subject to the geographical conditions that maintain in Hawaii. We're isolated from the coast by 2,400 miles of water, and unless the shipping lanes are maintained open, we just can't live.
And that means that you're at the mercy of the shipping unions.
Well, we're at the mercy of the shipping unions or of an administration that's unwilling to keep the ships sailing.
And now, while the shipping unions have gained power over you, sir, does that mean that your traditional Big Five has lost economic power in Hawaii and political power?
Well, for a long period of time, the Big Five, who are generally represented as the factors who operate the sugar industry, constituted the dominating economic and political.
And they were more or less
territory.
Bostonians, New England people, were they not, the Big Five?
The basis of our political, social, and economic life was established by the missionaries who went to Hawaii from Boston in 1820 and developed our industry much in the pattern of the American tradition.
Hawaii has been accused, you know, in articles that I've read, Mr. Farrington, of being somewhat of a feudal state under the guidance of this Big Five, so-called. Do you think that's still true?
No, I don't. If it ever was a feudalism, it was a very benevolent feudalism and very much in the American pattern. But I think that the diversification of their strength and power has taken care of that in the last.
Of course, the principal aspiration of Hawaii now is to become a state, isn't it?
That's correct.
And as far as statehood is concerned, you don't expect it to be granted this year?
No, I doubt if the Senate will take action on statehood before it adjourns this summer.
Is there opposition to statehood in Hawaii itself?
There is opposition to statehood in Hawaii, but it comes from a dwindling minority.
Our viewers, of course, have heard senators like Senator Stennis of Mississippi and others state why they are opposed to statehood for Hawaii, principally because of dilution of the Congress. Is that where most of the opposition in Congress comes from Southern senators?
Yes, the principal and the most serious opposition comes from the senators from the South who want to maintain the traditional position of the South with respect to certain types of legislation. Under the present rules of the Senate, which permit unlimited debate, they have what amounts to the power to veto legislation to which they have very serious objections.
Now,
pardon me, Mr. Farrington, I had one senator tell me that he was opposed to statehood for Hawaii because we might have an Oriental senator. What do you think of that? Is that a possibility, and what do you think of it if it is a possibility?
I want to answer that by saying that no one will represent Hawaiian Congress who, first of all, is not an American citizen. And I don't think it is proper to raise any questions regarding their ancestral background any more than it is to do the same with the people of the states.
What about loyalty to the United States? Did you, during the Second War, for instance, did you have any, was disloyalty a great problem in Hawaii?
No, it was not. And on the contrary, the record of Hawaii fully vindicated the confidence that we had in the Americans of Oriental ancestry. I want to say, with further reference to your question, Mr. Cromwell, that that, of course, is within the realm of possibility, and we of Hawaii would not offer any objection to a man because of his race. I think that if someone came along who met the requirements of such a position, that he would be selected.
When I lived in Hawaii before the war, I encountered what I thought was a very remarkable situation there, and that was in the shape of these Japanese language schools. Do they still have those Japanese language schools?
No, the Japanese language schools were discontinued following the outbreak of World War II.
They no longer exist.
That's right.
Now, you were talking about the melting pot aspects of Hawaii, so you've lived in Hawaii most of your life, I believe.
That's correct.
And It's rather dramatic, I think, this all of these races that do live together. Now, is it true that they live together successfully and that there is a cohesion in the islands? Do you have a more or less united people?
I feel very definitely that we have an unusually cohesive people. One thing that distinguishes people of Hawaii without regard to their racial origin is their love for Hawaii, which to them is the United States. They love the country geographically and every other way, and are deeply devoted to it.
Is communism a problem there?
Yes, communism is a problem in Hawaii, but I don't think any more so than it is elsewhere. I think to compensate for that, there's an unusual alertness of the seriousness of communism, both as it presents itself internationally and nationally.
Do you think statehood would strengthen our defense position in the islands?
I'm certain that it would strengthen our defense position, because statehood historically has stimulated the economic development of every community or area to which it has granted, and it has also inspired the people to a sense of their responsibility and to activity as American citizens that might not otherwise be realized.
Well, Mr. Farrington, as the principal spokesman for Hawaii's aspirations, I'm sure that our audience has very much appreciated hearing your views tonight, and thank you, sir.
The editorial board for this edition of the Longines Chronoscope was Mr. William Bradford Huey and Mr. James H.R. Cromwell. Our distinguished guest was the Honorable Joseph R. Farrington, delegate to Congress from the territory of Hawaii.